Welcome, everyone. We'll get started here in a few minutes. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to let me know. And thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Hey, Assassin, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for being here. Hope everything's been well. Good, glad to hear it. Been a busy week here, so anxious to take some downtime here and play some Starfield. Of course, a bit of that is my own fault. Playing catch up with all the video editing that I neglected while I had my family emergency and afterwards, so working my way through it. I think I still have 7 videos or something like that to edit, so should be finished this week like I promised. I appreciate everybody sticking with me during that time. It was not up to my normal standards, so. Oh boy, is my house all finished. 99.9%. As with any homeowner, you quickly learn that that last 1% is always the biggest headache. When you come down to that part where you think you're done, you do a final walkthrough with your contractor and you mark up everything that is not done to your satisfaction or still hasn't been done, and touch-ups that need to be redone because of things that were messed up slightly while they were doing other things and all that sort of stuff. And that last, what we call a punch list here in the United States, it normally takes a while to get it done. You have to remobilize contractors to come back out and do things, and then sometimes they find other things that were wrong and they have to come back, and it takes a while to get it done. So right now, all of the major stuff is done. They have to repaint 3 walls, which they're going to do tomorrow, which is a relatively minor thing. And then they have to finish up one little thing out in the garage, and they should be done. So I'm able to move around the house now, which is good. But yeah, still that 0.1% left. So hopefully this week we're finished up and I can start really moving my stuff back in down here. All of my stuff was kind of thrown into closets and guest room and my room and all that sort of stuff, and I'm really hoping to get that moving back in started again so I can really make it back into my home. But yes, thank you for asking. We are almost there, and I can't wait for it to be done. But the cats are free to roam around now, and that's what they're all happy about. They've been cooped up in my in my bedroom with me for 6 months while this was being done. So they're happy to get back into their house because it is their house. I just bought it, furnished it, and live here with them in it. And thank you for all the comments, by the way, on the videos. I'm very happy all the stuff that's being put out there for everybody who's reading the comments on the Baldur's Gate videos. It's very, very helpful. So thank you very much for all those comments. I appreciate it. All right, we'll get ready to get started here. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. I do appreciate it. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode 9 of our Starfield gameplay series. I'm Commander Jarval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, as we've kind of quickly discussed in previous live streams, the modding community for Bethesda games is always amazing. And in a lot of people's view, they pick up on things that Bethesda leaves off. And that's been both a complaint and a source of pride for the modding community over the years. And this week, the first unofficial Starfield patch by the modding community was released. It does some, or fixes some perks and some skills that were incorrectly done. It fixes a lot of dialogue options, some incongruities in some of the player character interactions, and a slew of other stuff. It's all relatively minor things, but again, that's what the unofficial patches do. They get around to fixing bugs and things like that that Bethesda either hasn't deemed important enough to fix yet, or just doesn't end up fixing at all, as we saw with Skyrim for a lot of things. So if you are into the modding community, please go check that out and take a look at it. Gives you a very complete installation manual for it, as well as a load order for where that mod needs to be if you're using other mods on the game. But it's the first of many things like that that are going to be showing up from the modding community as we go. So expect there to be larger versions of that unofficial patch that go through as they get to fixing more and more things, and then hopefully removing things as Bethesda fixes them in their own updates. But this first playthrough, as I've said before, at least up through the first NG Plus, is going to be without mods. At some point after NG Plus, I probably will go through with mods. I'd just like to see how the out-of-the-box game plays, and it also helps me identify any issues that I can then report on the forums back to Bethesda for things that they need to fix. So, but keep an eye on that, and go check out the modding community and support them every chance you get. So I think that's pretty much it for the admin notes today. So skipping into our recap. So we had been working our way through the UC Vanguard questline. I really like this questline. It has some very interesting twists and turns in it, and plot decisions that have been made, and it really draws you in quite a bit. And I'm very happy to get to the point where we kind of are starting to see the culmination of all of that. We had some big reveals at the end of last week's live stream, and we are sitting in an area where we are going to go into a fight here. And this is going to be the culmination of the Terrormorph encounters inside of this questline. So should be fun. We got here at a very interesting time with it being dark out, though I think it's going to be getting light as we go, but we'll kind of see as we load in here. Okay, actually, we're gonna do a quick reload. I know what this one is. I think. I went back to check after the end of last live stream, off stream. I went back to check something to see if I had missed something way back at the start. Yes. So this is where we were. It was snowing outside, it was dark, and we were getting ready to go in here. So everybody's here with us, and we're gonna make our way down inside here. Okay, so it is becoming light out. So we do have a staircase here that we can go up and search. There are some credits here. Don't need the food. And let's talk to
We're gonna have plenty to discuss
Sarah here and see if we can offload any items here, because we are going to want to be able to run as we go through here.
Okay.
So we don't want to be encumbered. Oh, I'm crippled. That's not good. So we have these two conditions, so let's cure those.
Damn it.
Before we head out. More ammo here. Weapons that we can pick up, some packs. Okay, we'll make our way over here. And we're just going to keep making our way down toward where the quest marker is. Okay, before we get too close, we are going to go around to this side instead. We do have one more building over here that we want to get into.
You're carrying too many odds and ends. Time to let something go.
Probably true. So let's go and
Yes?
hurry up this last little bit.
Stuff. Just kidding.
And then we will start this up.
Goodbye.
Okay. So our quest marker's leading us right there. And what we are going to do is trigger this encounter, and then we are going to hightail it back to the entrance as fast as we can. We don't care if our companions get left behind while we're doing it. We are just going to get out. All right?
Concentrate fire! Shoot! Shoot!
That thing is putting out some kind of signal. Radar's lighting up. I think you're due for some company.
Okay, so we're just going to get a little bit of damage in here as my companions start to make their way back here. Okay, and we also do want to
get those online, and I'll relay my signal through there.
Okay. Whoops. Okay. So I actually powered up the So I'm just going to run around this area and re-flip these switches here.
And they're helping us. It's working.
I've still got more capacity. Get to the next bit. No, that should be the end of its connection to its throne. Now hit it with everything you've got.
Okay, so what happened there is the animals that are out here, just to explain what happened because it happened pretty quick. All of these animals that are out here
coming after us. I guess we should grab that sample while we can.
Are under the influence of the Terrormorph. If you saw me attacking some of them, you saw they had blue glowing outlines around them. So they were enthralled by the Terrormorph here, and there's actually a couple of Terrormorphs here. So you can fight and kill all of them if you would like. They are hostile, they are all over the map, and they will continuously respawn as you go through it. Or you can just go through and activate those satellite dish levers, which counteracts the Terrormorph's thrall condition. And that way, all of the animals start attacking the Terrormorph anomaly, and it significantly helps you in the fight. Some of these animals are pretty beefy, including the couple of Terrormorphs that you can see walking around out here. So you saw how quickly they took down the health on the anomaly, and they're a huge help. So you want to definitely run back here. That gets everybody spread out, and it lets your squad mates draw the aggro of the Terrormorph, and they can start causing damage on it while you then run around and trigger the switches. I triggered the switches before it all started, not thinking about the fact that it wasn't going to trigger until the encounter started. So I just had to go flip them again. So here you have the anomalous sample that you want. The alien genetic material is always really good, and pick up the rest as supplies.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon.
Okay, so now we need to return to the fob out there. And we can't fast travel from here. Can we fast travel from here? Can.
Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion. Ah, best place for them. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
It's a bit more complicated than that.
I'm sorry, what? She's pulling my leg, right? Adrian?
I don't believe she is.
So that means we have a suspect.
I believe that's exactly what that means. Look, Captain. Percival and I, we need to get these samples back to the lab. Ensure we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the Terrormorphs. But Victus is the only solid lead we've got on the attacks. Since you're the only one who knows where he is, can you speak to him? See if you can get him to cough up anything he might know. Good. We'll all meet back at Mast, outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to know everything we've uncovered here. Best of luck, Captain. And thank you for dealing with him.
Okay, so another 10,000 credits, a big chunk of experience there. And now we need to speak to Victus here. And to do that, we need to head to Alpha Centauri, not Ptolemon. And we're going to the Mass District.
While we're here, it wouldn't hurt if we checked in at the lodge.
Okay, so we've got some explaining to do down here.
I've lived in New Atlantis almost my entire
Oh, and we do...
and I had no idea
Yes.
this place.
This is what I explained here. Let's get rid of Sarah.
Something you need? Want to see what I'm carrying?
Let's take the stuff that we gave her. Okay, so we're going to let her equip the calibrated Equinox. Okay, we're going to be overloaded, but we want to take our stuff out, and we're going to send her
Whatever
away.
you think is best.
We wanted to bring her along for that fight, like I say, just to make sure you had all the possible firepower you could when you went into that, but we don't need her around now.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for? I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for? Now, what in the heavens would make you claim something as ludicrous as that? Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us. You know, you're far more clever than I expected. You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terrormorph attacks on Tau City. New Atlantis. My doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I. Figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian. Learning to synthesize it. Use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. Not a bad thought. But no. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's Terrormorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential. Easy to say now, but at the time, I didn't know the Lazarus plant couldn't be plucked from the ground and used to cause even more death. I wasn't going to allow another dangerous variable to be added to an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday.
So there was a key line there. Remember when we were starting that previous mission and Kaiser said he didn't know where he learned about the steam tunnels from, and then again Victus here just admitted that he was the one that reprogrammed Kaiser to give us that information and help us to get through this.
I'm simply looking for you to acknowledge the truth. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terrormorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlays' role in the attacks to the Cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the Cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlays and Orlays alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together. That is a pity, Captain. But I'm in no position to negotiate. Though we needn't be enemies, you and I. Just think about the opportunity I've provided here. There are more on the horizon. If you do the right thing.
Okay, so we have complete confirmation of everything we learned earlier, and yeah, he's just a bad person. A saying that comes to mind: some people suck. They just do. And he is certainly one of them. There is no justification for what he did or how he did it. And his attempting to cover it up is just not going to work with me.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Aceles are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terrormorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant?
If you haven't already talked to Hadrian, about Victus. This will be your last opportunity to come clean. So if you've lied all the previous times, and she doesn't know that Victus is alive, you will get an opportunity here to reveal that to her, and this will be your last chance. Or you can lie and again blame this on Orlaise and completely side with Victus in this.
I knew it. The second I heard that recording, I knew. Why? Did he say why he did it? It takes some deeply twisted logic to think anything did more harm to the Sanan name than him. Well, once we inform the cabinet, they can ensure he won't be able to do anything like this ever again. Exactly. Bring justice to everyone he's hurt. So I guess that gives us our final answer. Nothing left to do but head in and see what the cabinet thinks of it all. Unless there was more to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the Terrormorphs.
Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in. See if they have a preference. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Aceles seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti.
Aceles aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the Terrormorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Aceles, we're at least dealing with known risks. It's hard to know. Unlike my father, the cabinet aren't butchers. But killing UC citizens, along with everything else he's done, is unforgivable. But if you're really that concerned, you could request they be lenient. They might be willing to spare him. And here we go.
So that conversation should give you a little preview about what you're going to be asked here in your conversation with the council. So they're probably going to ask our advice on whether to use the Aceles or whether to use the microbe. And they're also probably going to ask us what we want to do, or what we want them to do with Victus.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terrormorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true?
My God.
An attack? Using Terrormorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orlaise commit these attacks, Captain?
Orlaise? It's true, ma'am. I heard the recording myself.
My father figured out how to use Terrormorphs as weapons.
He did what?
That's impossible. He doesn't have the kind of access to...
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was gonna end in tragedy.
Enough! I hope everyone here understands that what has just been shared is a state secret of the highest order. This information does not leave this room. Now, that's quite the accusation you're leveling, considering Francois Sanon has not left containment for the better part of 2 decades. You have evidence to back this up?
It just transformed. A Terrormorph out of thin air. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe.
Heavens help us. Is that actually him?
I'd know that voice anywhere. That's Francois.
He knew they could do this, and said nothing.
He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am.
Officer, please collect that recording.
Yes, ma'am. Begging your pardon, Captain.
We'll, of course, be launching a full investigation into how this could have happened. Though I have little doubt the Admiral will be quick to share all he knows on the subject once confronted with that recording. Chief Yassine, can you send one of your interrogators to have a little chat with the Admiral?
I'll issue the order immediately.
Good. Combined with everything else you all have uncovered. Well, I don't think the United Colonies can thank you enough. We failed the people of the colonies by not dealing with Victus sooner. I intend to rectify that mistake immediately.
So here's your option to either defer the choice or to give your input.
I'm inclined to agree, Captain. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches. The 3 of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the Cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the Cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President. Tell the Freestar Collective. Wow. So they have another tool to utilize against us?
I'm in agreement. I fail to see the value here.
That is an interesting idea. A grand gesture to further display this cabinet doesn't think like those of the past.
The observers on Mars have proven such a gesture can bear fruit.
So, you want us to make nice with the Collective by sharing our state secrets?
No, I want us to display plainly the UC's actual intentions, that the plant will never be used as a weapon again.
That does sound worthwhile, Chief Kulkarni. Very well. We'll get the Collective involved in the management. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terrormorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terrormorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
Okay, so here is your option to give your input on which of the two main ways that you wouldn't, or that you want to go. We'll go through the last of these dialogue options here.
I believe we have a responsibility to do something, yes. Heavens forbid, years from now, someone reopens the Pandora's box that Victus discovered. It falls to us to enact every measure required to ensure that day never comes. Please, ask.
I can feel this one. While intimidating creatures, certainly, Asylees are docile unless provoked. They're honestly closer to oversized mobile scanners than deadly predators.
The concern is that, while all proposed methods will be long-term efforts, the Asylees are the slowest. Slow to breed, slow to deploy. We do everything we could to accelerate that process, including mustering some of our mothballed cloning technologies. But if we do elect to use this method, we'll be doing things at the pace of a megafauna, which is not an expedient one.
Infinitesimally low.
But not zero.
The chance of a starship landing on you as you sit here isn't zero, yet you still attended. Personally, my fear isn't mutation, but Terrormorphs developing a resistance. But that's something our group can continue to address if we decide to take this approach, as I believe we should.
This won't work without them.
Exactly right, ma'am. The Interstellar Affairs Office has already begun reaching out to worlds throughout the settled systems, informing them of the risks we're all facing, and that the UC has a plan to prevent what happened on New Atlantis from happening elsewhere. Thus far, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. The spirit of mutual cooperation displayed between the UC and the Freestar Collective in managing the Terrormorph data set a good tone for the work we're doing, Captain. We expect we'll hit some resistance, but our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread success.
The responsibilities will be spread across multiple branches of the UC. Research and day-to-day administration will be handled by a new group under the Science Division. All diplomatic concerns and coordination will fall to Chief Yassine and Interstellar Affairs. But most of the actual on-the-ground work, that'll be handled by the Vanguard. Very well. Then did you have a preference on the method we should deploy?
Okay, so the choice itself. The small impact is that if you choose the Asylees, you will actually see Asylees show up on habitable planets. You'll see them walking around. It adds an extra bit of depth, I guess, to the game, if you do that. From another practical perspective, the only realistic difference between the two choices is the effect that it has on your 4 main companions. So the 4 main companions that you have romance options with.
Let's continue.
So Barrett, Sarah, Sam, and a character we haven't met yet, Andreja, all have different reactions to the two. And Sarah and Barrett approve of using the microbe. They disapprove of using the Asylees, whereas Sam and Andreja approve of using the Asylees and they disapprove of using the microbe. There are no other long-term effects that I have seen in the game to either one of the choices. Either one is going to be effective. and I
waiting on you,
haven't
Captain.
seen anything negative. Now that may change later on as you get, expansions and that sort of stuff. But for right now, I haven't seen anything one way or another that changes anything other than really your character interactions. Now, those approvals and disapprovals, you can select dialogue options to minimize or eliminate the amount of dislike that they have for your choice. But you're going to have to navigate those conversations carefully. So before you talk to any of them, save your game, go through, select your options, and then if you don't get any dislikes, then you can save afterward. Otherwise, you could reload and do it again. But that's really the only choice that you have here between these two, is whether or not you want to deal with the disapprovals and approvals on certain of your characters or not. It's an easy way to up the approval of certain characters that you might want to move into a romance scenario, and that sort of stuff. So utilize that choice for that benefit, but not much else. Okay. So for us here, we're going to deploy actually, it doesn't matter. It's in my personal playthrough, I deployed the Astraeas, and they are actually cool seeing them out on the planets. Walking around. But I guess this time I'll take the Terrormorph or the microbe option.
We're waiting on you, Captain.
Just for something different.
Glad to see someone's not afraid of a little applied genetics. The science division is in full agreement.
And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day 1 for the United Colony's Terrormorph Management Division, making you 3 the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive. You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sinan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
And as a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you, Captain, will have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay, so we're going to get a big chunk of credits there, you saw in the upper right-hand corner. And we also picked up enough experience to level up. So we also got some activities that popped up here. And one is speak with Commander Tuala. And also speak to Zora at the Aphelion Realty office. So we're going to go speak... Well, we'll speak to Commander Tuala first.
You have a nice day now.
And we'll just kind of show you how this works here.
Well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain. No need to thank me. You brought this on yourself. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount. And the credits should be in your accounts now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Affilion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access.
So then we got another 12,000 credits up there.
Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up Terrormorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you?
Okay, so this is what the options are going forward for the Vanguard. You can now speak to Commander Tuala and you can take a regular Vanguard mission. You can do some missions to help clear out the Terrormorphs. Or you can take this specialty mission with Percival to help catalog flora and fauna. And this basically means getting sent to a planet, finding a particular alien species that he wants you to scan, and then you have to scan multiple of those animals or plants until you get up to 100%, and then you can come back and drop that information off with Percival. So 3 different types of recurring missions here. It all depends on what you want to do. I'm going to take a break here.
Of course. You've earned some R&R. Once you're rested up and ready to head out there again, you come see me.
Alright, so now we do have another option here to speak to Zora at the Affilion Realty office.
Never a better time than right now to settle down and make New Atlantis home. If you're a citizen, of course. Well, well, if it isn't the United Colony's newest Class 1 citizen. You've made quite a name for yourself in New Atlantis. In fact, the higher-ups want to thank you for your dedicated service by giving you one of the nicest pieces of real estate in the city. It's a premium penthouse at the top of Mercury Tower. Best location in New Atlantis, in my professional opinion.
What do you say? It'll just take a second to get you registered as the owner.
Great! You're in for a real treat. It's one of my favorite apartments in the city. Okay, you're all set. Your new home's located in Mercury Tower in the residential district. You'll love the place. It has a gorgeous floor plan and an unbeatable view of the city. Now that you're an owner, I'm sure I'll be seeing you around town.
Okay, and then up in the right-hand corner you see Mercury Penthouse key added and building materials added to my ship's cargo hold. And now we have a quest to visit the new penthouse at New Atlantis. That new penthouse is in the residential district. And yes, I am overloaded here. And before we go in there, we're going to head over to the Tarian Arsenal and just sell off some of these weapons here real quick. And check real quick and see if we have any weapon upgrades.
You're here because you need only the finest collection of armaments in the settled systems.
Let's go to sell here. Okay, so the refined drumbeat is an upgrade over this once we add mods to it, but right now it isn't. So the advanced Grendel, once we add mods to it, and we have the Furious trait on it, where each consecutive hit deals more damage, this is one of the best versions of the Grendel that you're going to be able to get. So we'll make sure we keep that so that we can mod it up. Okay, so let's see here what we have to sell from our ship's inventory. So this is not going to be better than our advanced Grendel. And with this, I'm okay giving them 7 credits or something. Now let's check out her weapons and see if we have anything else in here. So this is the same as what we have. It's calibrated level for most everything. And that's it. So nothing new that we want to pick up here. And now we're going to head over here to Mercury Tower. You can see the name here. Looks pretty swanky.
Definitely better than the last
And this is our penthouse. So this is free of charge, given to us in thanks. And you can see it is, they were correct. It's got a great view of your surroundings out here. This is not the only balcony. There's a full kitchen here. A little storage room probably here. Another small room here off the entry. Here's your guest bathroom. Your laundry room. Your guest room here. And your master suite here, or your primary suite here, that comes with the primary bathroom here. And you have another balcony. So our other balcony was around the corner over there. This one you can overlook the spaceport, and you see there is our Star Eagle sitting on the pad out there. So it's really cool that that is part of the game here, is that this whole thing is loaded. Meaning that if I jump off of here and pack my way down, I certainly can do that. That's why the ship is able to change, because this whole spaceport here is completely loaded as one walkable area. So it's really, really cool that they've done this, that you're able to see your own ship out here on the pad. But it is a really cool little penthouse. And now, but one thing that you see is missing is there's no furnishings. So how do you deal with that? And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you're going to find this tab inside of every apartment that's available in the game. And here you have the ability to craft your furnishings. Now, your furnishings all take building materials that you can see there in the upper left-hand corner. So the industrial workbench is going to take 3 iron and 4 aluminum to do it. Now, I have that, so I could place this down wherever I would like. But you can see the cooking station, I don't have 3 alkanes, so I'm not able to craft it. The weapon workbench, I could place it. The spacesuit workbench, I could place it. And then hitting Z and C, you can see that you can craft other things. So here is a chair. But you see that the chair says 1 of 9. So you can hit Q and T to go through your variants of the different types of chairs that are available for you to craft. Now, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that the crafting material requirements change depending upon which variant you select. Okay, so that needs structural and adhesive, whereas this needs aluminum and fiber. And it's going to be the same thing as you go through the different variants. Some of them may require different materials to craft. Now, this allows you to place any of these materials in your penthouse apartment here. Now, you can rotate these. However, the rotation is not very exact. You can see that even with just barely touching the mouse, it always moves a certain percentage. There are a couple of ways that, and you can see, for instance, that this is not exactly lined up with the wall, right? The bottom of it you can see is flush with the wall, but the right-hand side's up a little bit. But if you try and move your mouse, you might not be able to find an exactly perpendicular lineup. This is one of the things that's incredibly frustrating, and has been a comment on the forums. There's no snap object, or there's no way to snap these things to horizontal and vertical and that sort of stuff, so to speak. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this, and the way that this thing starts out is entirely based upon your view. So, a couple of tips. One, you can take your mouse sensitivity and you can reduce your click sensitivity way down temporarily, and that would allow you to basically hold the mouse button, and it would rotate so slowly that you'd be able to line it up pretty easily. However, you can see that red text box that says cannot place item. Selected item is floating. If you line that up so that it, just like that, lines up with the gray line at the bottom of the wall, and then you change your variant and change it back, now you can see that it is perfectly lined up with the wall. And now it doesn't matter where you turn, it stays lined up with the wall. Okay? If you hit your mouse, though, you're going to have to redo it. And then you move that red text box, line it up with a section of the wall, kind of like that. Hit Q or T, come back to it, and now you're lined up again. All right? Now, if you want to put it against this wall, you're going to have to do the same thing again. Okay, so maybe pick an item, line it up, move it back, and now you're lined up with that wall. So placing your furniture is a long, involved, and tedious process, but it does give you a lot more flexibility in what you want to do to customize your own homes than what you saw, for instance, in Skyrim, where you could just walk up to somebody and tell them, add all the furniture and stuff into my house, and they'd do it for you. This has caused a lot of debate on the forums into which one people like best. Most people like a combination, where you could actually select a default furniture setup and have it all done for you. And then you'd be able to go in and customize those things if you'd like, because you can place it and then delete it, or pick it up and move it after you're done, just like you can with Outposts. So, for instance, I'm going to go down here to a bed. Doesn't look like I have many bed options that are available to me here. Let me just scroll through and make sure there's nothing else, but you can see the depth of what you have in here. And by the way, these storage crates, they are not infinite. So if you think you're just going to place infinite storage down in your house, sorry, you're not going to be able to. That's, again, another one of the things that has been commented on, is the lack of the ability to just put down whatever you want for storage. And let's see. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of options for beds right now. I'd be able to research more. I just haven't done any research yet. But putting a bed down in here gives you that opportunity to get the well-rested bonus, which is a 10% increase in your experience for a certain time period when you leave. So placing a bed down somewhere is always a recommended thing to do right off the bat, just to give you that. Now, the beds in your ship act the exact same way, so you don't have to, but this gives you a quick insight into how to furnish your apartment. And this works for any apartment that you buy. The only other one that's available here is the one that's in the well, and it's not very pretty. So trust me when I say this is the best one out of all of them, and it does look really, really nice. So feel free to customize this to your heart's content. So let's take a quick look. Once we're out here, we're going to go over to the commercial district and just sell off the last of our items here, so we can get down below our carry weight, and then we're going to start on the next faction quest line. And this is another very, very fun quest line to do. So for those building materials that you need for your apartment,
may require multiple levels of
UC Distribution here is one of the best places to get them.
I hope we have what you need.
So here under the Resources tab, they have a very long list of resources that you can buy. And then right behind me,
back to it then.
You can sit on the couch here and rest for 48 hours. And then come back and that inventory will be refreshed.
Welcome to UC Distribution.
So you
Something I
can
do for you?
concentrate on what you want to build. I didn't go over the tracking mechanism, which I guess I can quickly do once we leave here. But you can, actually I don't know, I can just explain it. if say you want to craft a bed and you don't have the materials, there's a button in the UI for you to track the required materials. And once you click on that, it will put a blue magnifying glass symbol next to that material. So that then if you go to the materials and you needed adhesives, there will be a blue magnifying glass symbol here, letting you know that you need to buy adhesive for something in your apartment. That way you can put together a list of all the stuff that you want to build in your apartment, and you can track all of those materials if you run out of them or don't have them. Then you can come here and just buy the materials that are marked in blue, and then you can go back to your apartment and craft things. So the track mechanic is very, very useful for going through the game here. So the UC Marine spacesuit, I'm going to keep. The Advanced Ground Crew pack, and you can see these are not as good as what I have for the legendary armor I picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. The stock skip pack is better. You can compare it to your equipped. So it is quite a bit better. The Bounty Hunter armor set is one of the best armor sets that you can get. So the raw numbers are going to be quite a bit better. But again, I don't have the legendary perks that go along with it. And I'm going to keep the UC Marine set. So an Advanced Deep Seeker, again, slightly better in some of them. I guess a lot better in energy, but still doesn't have any of the perks. And I'm going to keep this for a mannequin somewhere. I can just put this on a display mannequin later on. So for apparel, don't need that. I don't need these 2 medical injectors. I don't need any of that. For my weapons, I'm keeping that, and I don't need the Shattered Shock either. Okay, there's not enough for that, and I'm not willing to give that much money. So let's see if we can sell anything out of our inventory here, or ship inventory. And now let's see what she has to sell. So calibrated level, it looks like. The N7 smart gun is interesting, and at the start of the UC Vanguard mission that we just finished, where you pick up all the anti-Xeno gear, the weapon that is on the table changes. The armor does not, but the weapon does, and it's based upon your level. So the higher level you go into it, the more different types of weapons are going to be available to you. In my personal playthrough, I got an epic level anti-Xeno smart gun for the weapon that was on the table. And that thing just shreds. It just absolutely shreds aliens of any type. So animals and aliens, it just shreds them. But here in ours, I think all we picked up was a boosted AA-99, just because our level wasn't as high when we went in it. Doesn't mean you need to put those quests off. You can still, do them. The weapons that you're going to pick up like that don't necessarily compare to some of the later on advanced type weapons you're going to get later on anyway. So no reason to put these things off. but that weapon does change
Right.
based on your level.
Come back if you need something else.
Alright, so that gets us down to a certain level. We're going to head back to our ship real quick. And we're just going to get up from our seat. We're going to go drop off some other things from our inventory, just so we can free up all this carry weight here. Okay, so now we're down to 78, so that's where we need to be. So let's talk about our missions here. Oops. We do have some activities here that we could pursue, but we have quite a bit of time left in the stream here, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to start the next faction quest line here, which is the deep cover mission set for the Crimson Fleet. This is what this new icon is about. There are some other good things here to do. It starts, you have activities that can help you get into outpost building and that sort of stuff. All of these talk to missions lead to other sorts of full missions that you can do that lead you into different locations and side quests and that sort of stuff. So speaking to Barrett, talking to Sam, talking to Sarah when that pops up, those are all very, very useful things. There's also an item in here for complete a research project, and this will get you into the research trees. We are quickly going to want to be able to get into that, but our research projects need to go hand in hand with outpost building. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to complete the Crimson Fleet questline, faction questline, and then we are going to spend a live stream founding an outpost, getting some manufacturing set up at that outpost so that we can quickly use it to level up, and then use those level up points to help increase our skill tree. Because what you need to do to get into your research trees are you need spacesuit design, weapon engineering, and you need outpost engineering, as well as chemistry if you're dealing with foods and that sort of stuff. So these set of skills here are what you're going to be using in crafting, and you have to level them up here to get improved mods, superior mods, cutting edge mods, and this rank 4 in all of them means that if you want to craft something, it might not take resources. And it's the same thing here for weapons, except you start off at improved, you go to superior, you go to cutting edge, and then master level weapon mods. And these are the things that can really take your base tier weapons, whether they be calibrated, refined, advanced, or superior, and turning them into high damage, high effect type of weapons. So getting into spacesuit design, weapon engineering, and then to a certain extent, outpost engineering, being able to get improved, superior, and cutting-edge outpost modules can really help you improve your outpost production and your ability to use those to either get materials or to level up as you go. But we need level up points, skill points in these to be able to increase them as we move up. And to do that, you need to level up a lot more than what we've got here. So having at least 10 level up points here to level all of these up to the maximum that you need so that you can start crafting weapon mods means we need at least 7 more levels, and you use your outpost as an effective way of doing that. So once we finish this quest line, then we will kind of step away from our questing a little bit, and we will spend a live stream setting up an outpost and learning how to use it to level up. But for now, we're just going to head off into the deep cover mission. So to do that, we need to proceed to the UC Vigilance. The UC Vigilance is in Sol, and it's orbiting Mars here.
Ship is now docked. Perfect. Didn't even smudge the paint.
Welcome aboard the UC Vigilance. Did you have any questions before I escort you to the commander? Yeah, listen to him carefully. The commander's a one-and-done kind of officer. In other words, he hates to repeat himself. Other than that, just observe standard military decorum, and it should keep you from serving any time on the ship's cleaning detail. I'm not authorized to divulge information about this vessel. Suffice to say, it's one of the toughest ships in the UC's arsenal. All right. This way, please. So, you're the vanguard that took down that Terrormorph on Tau City. You've made quite an impression around here. Everyone upstairs is talking about it. Damn. That must have been one hell of a firefight. I almost regret missing out on all the fun. Of course, we don't normally see that kind of action on the Vigilance, but we have our moments. All right, Vanguard. Take the lift up to Ops. Commander Akande should be waiting for you. Good luck.
Yes, what? Hey.
I'd like to brief you on the mission, so please, pay attention. Ah, there you are. Commander Kibwe Kande, UC System. Glad to have you aboard. I was beginning to think you were having second thoughts about Commander Tuala's offer. Excellent. Then let's get right to it, shall we? This is the Operations Center of the UC Vigilance. SysDef's nerve center, dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. Which is precisely why we're taking a more clandestine approach. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse.
Okay, so we have an opportunity for persuasion here.
Good. I have just the right place for you to start. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention.
Okay, so that wasn't persuasion. That wasn't a persuade opportunity. The difference was persuasion, which is the skill, and because I have it, it gave me that dialogue option, versus persuade, which is the minigame. So in this case, it was just because I have the skill, I was able to tell him that.
You'd better hope so. Saoirse won't be easy to dupe. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Gillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know. Let's just say my superiors need proof that engaging the Crimson Fleet is a larger priority than they're willing to admit. If we shove enough concrete evidence under their noses, they'll have no choice but to allocate the resources that I've requested. At the same time, we can use the evidence to arrest members of the Crimson Fleet, weakening them enough to strike a fatal blow. Eager to get going? Good. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down. I wouldn't expect any less. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. As an undercover operative for UC SysDef, you'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control. That's what I wanted to hear. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here, and good luck. You have your orders.
Okay, so as was kind of touched on, the evidence gathering portion of this mission is actually very important. The final mission of this quest line, depending upon how you choose, if you side with the UC SysDef here, you'll be forced to make an attack against an outpost. That outpost will be guarded by up to 3 different defense sites, and the more evidence that you gather, the more resources will be allocated to that attack. And what that will mean is that at a certain point, you won't have to attack one of those defense sites. You collect more evidence, you won't have to attack the second one. You collect more, you won't have to attack the third one. Anything above that doesn't affect the mission in any way. So you can severely curtail how hard the last mission is by collecting more evidence. The other thing about the evidence quest is that at the end of it, there's a unique legendary firearm that you can get from Lieutenant Toft here. So it's in your interest, if you're a completionist type, to go ahead and collect all the evidence and turn it into her so you can get that weapon. If not, collecting certain amounts of it can help you with the final mission, or you can just choose not to do any of it and just fight your way through the final mission on your own. So it's completely up to you. This will be an optional side quest. We're going to do it as we go through this. We're going to pick up the evidence just so you can see where they are and you can get them yourself in the future.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood? Well, since it isn't every day we stumble across a criminal's fully written confession, we need to build a case against our suspects. The more evidence we acquire, the stronger our case becomes. And knowing the Crimson Fleet, they'll leave plenty of evidence for you to find. Well, you better. Commander Akande's entire operation is resting on your shoulders. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig. It's not you, it's the Crimson Fleet. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why I'm pushing you so hard. What? No. It's personal. It has nothing to do with you. Just stick to the mission and you'll be fine. That's all we're asking. Oh, before you go, there's one more thing. Commander Akande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return, as compensation for your efforts. It's not generous, it's motivational. Commander Akande's idea. All right, we've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden, and with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed. Don't worry, the container's been registered with UC Security, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Even if you're scanned. Of course, if we find out you tried to sell it to someone outside the boundaries of this particular operation, well, I don't think I need to tell you the consequences of making that mistake. We'll be keeping them close at hand until this operation is complete. So, we'll be holding them in the Vigilance's brig. If you're feeling particularly ruthless, you could always head down there and say hello. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. Not really, no. I've learned to keep my personal experiences separate from the job.
We're getting reports of increased fleet activity near Port.
Yeah. Maybe. No, it's not really an appropriate time to be going over my private life. There are much more important things to be done. Let's just stick to the job at hand and concentrate on the mission. But, maybe we can talk about it some other time, okay? I'll be here if you have any more questions.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at our mission tab, we have two different missions here. We have the Burden of Proof, which is search for evidence, and Deep Cover. Deep Cover is our main faction quest line here. You can at any time activate the Burden of Proof. However, you're not going to get any quest markers. So don't think that it's going to allow you to cheat the system. This is basically just to let you know that the Burden of Proof mission is here, and as a reminder for you to collect evidence as you go. So, did I have a status effect? No. Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, I don't. I just saw the icon here and was wondering. So, but that's part of the environment that I'm in right now, I guess. You can see it on my HUD down there. So, our first mission... Whoops. So, I do have a bounty. I just noticed that. Yes. Oh, I have a bounty, yes, because of the inventory that they've put in my ship. So our first mission here is to make this meetup. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to proceed to Sidonia here. I don't think I have a bounty from anything else. I hope I don't walk into here and get thrown in jail. But if I do, I do.
Keep your eyes peeled for signs of Terrormorph activity.
Am I glad I got this job instead of running something?
Okay, so we need to meet up at the Trade Authority here first.
If you're here to buy or sell, you might want to talk to Octai. I'm busy. And by sensitive, I'm guessing you mean something you don't want UC security sticking their noses into. I can probably help you with that. What have you got for me? Aurora, huh? Nice. A little too hot to handle, though. What else you got? All I'm going to point at is the ceiling, with my middle finger. Get that stuff out of here before UC security catches on. Of course, if there's a finder's fee you're offering, I might, well, bend the rules a little bit. You know, it's funny. Suddenly, I do remember someone who might be able to unload that stuff for you. There's a buddy of mine who runs with the Crimson Fleet. Goes by the name Adler Kemp. If he isn't passed out, you can find him killing the rest of his brain cells at the Broken Spear. Oh, and it's been a pleasure doing business with you.
Alright, I am going to...
Welcome to the Sidonia Trade Authority. Yo, hey, what's up? You looking to do some shopping here at the Trade Authority? I'm Manaki. Feel free to ask me anything and I'll do my best to help you out. Cool. That's what we do here.
So I'm gonna sell off from my inventory here. That's the one we want to keep. Calibrated pacifier, we don't really need. And we'll see if he has any improved weapons. So we do have some refined here, but nothing that we want.
See you around.
I heard that...
A reminder that particle detonations can occur beyond the city limits between the hours of 0600 and 1800 local time.
What a day, huh?
Okay, now our first piece of evidence is right here behind Adler Kemp. Fortunately, all of the things that actually are evidence are labeled as evidence, so it's easy to know where they are when you find them. Okay, so here's our first one, so we're just going to take it.
Naeva, sit down, have a drink. So, smooth jump into the Soul system? UC security hassle you?
Cut the crap, Adler, and let's make this quick. There's only so long I can stand a stink of minor sweat and stale beer.
Okay, take it easy. Here's the fleet's kickback, just like I promised.
What is this bullshit? This is half of what you promised.
No reason to get upset, sweetie. Security around Sidonia's been cracking down, and it's tough to get the Deimos marks to play ball. That means I'm spending big on bribes, covering lost shipments. This isn't exactly like running a pharmacy out here, you know.
Two things, Adler. And I will make this simple enough so even a total imbecile like yourself can understand. One, I don't give a damn about your excuses. You owe us the agreed amount on time every month. And two, you call me sweetie ever again, and I'll shove my knife so far up your ass that people will mistake you for a unicorn.
Okay, Sorry, Naeva. I'll make it work. Here's the rest.
That's more like it. I'll see you in a month.
And one more example why I mark my videos as not for kids. But then it updates the burden of proof mission, as you can see, to return evidence to Lieutenant Toft. You don't have to do it after each one. You can save up some if you'd like and do it all at once. But you definitely want to turn in at least 15 of these before you get to the final mission. Because you have to... the amount that you've turned in at the start of that final mission will determine how many of those defense sites you have to attack. So, or how easy it is to attack those defense sites. So, make sure that if you're saving them up, that you turn them in before you get to the final mission. And then you can collect any remaining ones that you have left after that to get the unique firearm from Lieutenant Toft at any time if you'd like. So we'll talk to Adler here.
Unless you're here to serve me another drink, you can turn around and walk away. Hey, why don't you say that a little louder? I don't think every single UC guard in Sidonia heard you. Okay. Yeah, I think we can help you with this. If you've got a whole shipment of this stuff, you're going to need to move it fast. But you're going to have to do something for us first. You're a clever one, aren't you? Let's just say I have a certain influential affiliation. And leave it at that. Basically, you want that Aurora moved, I'm your guy. Right down to business! And no small talk. I like it. Now listen up, because I'm not going to repeat myself. I need you to deal with a miner who's racked up a bunch of debt. He probably spent it all on booze, not that I blame him. Either way, I want that money back.
So this introduces you to the different ways that you can play this quest. It starts off with you being undercover. You can, however, completely give in to your pirate sentimentalities here. And at the end of this mission, you can actually betray UC Sistef and fight with the Crimson Fleet. That's going to have repercussions when you get to the very end of the game and you decide to move into NG+, if you decide to do that. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of impact other than the fact that your pirates are going to become a lot more plentiful in your movements around the galaxy here, and those pirates will be non-hostile towards you. However, UC Sistef ships are going to be hostile toward you, so it's different ways to play your playthrough and choosing how you want to expand your character and what you want them to do. So you have a lot of options here in this game as well, and this gives you the first one. So throughout this playthrough, I am going to end up siding with UC Sistef. I'm not going to side with Crimson Fleet, so I'm going to try and find other ways to complete these quests or side quests here that don't involve killing people or things like that.
Perfect. His name's Carl Fielding. I think you'll find him wandering around the Deimos miners' quarters. Don't worry, you can't miss him. Just look for the most miserable-looking guy in the entire place.
Okay, so we need to go talk to Fiedler here.
Detonation occurs in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Figured it was going to do that. There are multiple ways to get downstairs. This door's the quickest, but you can go over the edge and go through a door down below.
detonation concluded. It is now safe to resume normal activity.
I have a pen pal in New Atlantis. We've never met in person.
Something I can help you with? Adler Camp. Who the heck is that? Adler, you said? Nope. I think you have me mixed up with someone else. Look, I'm tired. It's been a long day in the mines. I just want to go home, wash off the dust, and relax. This has been fun, though. Whatever. Hey now. Take it easy there. Let me think about that person you mentioned. Adler, was it? Hmm? Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Hmm? Sound good? Yeah? Well, I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. Look, I haven't got a single credit to spare right now. Okay? You can't squeeze blood from a stone. You know? Right?
Okay, so here we have, again, multiple options on how to play this. So you can spend the 3,000 to pay, or you can try and persuade here.
What games? Why are you doing this to me? I don't have the money.
So we only need 4 here.
I suppose. It's just that, well, I didn't have much of a choice. No way! I'm already working my fingers to the bone! You don't know what you're talking about. I know Adler's paying you to lean on me. So, you're just doing your job. But I swear, I've got nothing left. Okay? If I give you the last of my credits, my family starves. I can't afford to do that. I won't do that.
Okay, so you can attack and take the credits from it off his body, or you can just pay the debt.
Holy crap. Really? You'd do that for me? Wow. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. For everything. And don't worry. I'll never borrow anything from Adler again. I promise.
There is also an option to find out why he's so short on credits and to help him with that. And you're going to see that a lot with these side quests, to be able to help people out to find an alternate way to do what you want. It's just, honestly, with the amount of credits I have, I'm not too worried about it right now. I did get some bad persuasion rolls there, though, on that check. For you, if your save's coming the game, then you don't have to worry about it.
Have something for me? There, would you look at that? I knew that bum was holding out on me. He going to be a problem anymore? Or did he get the message? Nice, nice. You're kind of a natural at this. Leaning on deadbeats comes easy to you. I like that. You know, if you like this kind of work, I can get you more. A lot more. You think you can handle running with my, associates? That's what I'm talking about. I like your style. All right. I'll call ahead and get a hold of Naeva. She's second to the big boss himself. Head out to Europa. You'll find her there. I suggest you listen to whatever she has to say. Oh, and I've taken care of that Aurora shipment for you too. Don't spend all that cash in one place.
Okay, so again, credits, another good chunk of XP. So now again, we have some options. Remember, we have the burden of proof here to return evidence to Lieutenant Toft, and we're going to go do that here real quick, just so you can kind of see what it entails. And then we're going to collect more groups of it as we go and turn those in larger groups.
Time to cycle the airlock and move.
The Vigilance is our flagship. Where it goes...
Remember,
have permission to
Commander
speak freely.
appreciates the sacrifice you've made. Going undercover. Good. The more you find, the stronger our case. Interesting. Looks like he's been meeting up regularly with Naeva to transfer goods and cash from Sidonia. Which means the Crimson Fleet's just lost one of their drop points. That should set them back a bit. Anything else? Understood. Keep searching and you're bound to find more. Let me know if you need anything else.
Okay, so each one of those pieces of evidence is going to have an individualized set of dialogue that goes along with it. And then as you come back, like she said, you'll be able to see some of these individuals in the brig downstairs. And we'll go visit that in a little bit. But for now, we want to head over to the Astraea.
Look who finally had the guts to show up. Looks like Adler finally did something right for once.
Whoops. I didn't want to get up from my seat.
Hey, good to see you.
You and the rust bucket. So,
Can I have a pet?
big shot.
A pet?
I hear Adler thinks you're good enough to join our
Starship,
crew.
Cora. Pets and starships don't always mix so well.
Aw,
We'll
come
see.
on, please.
When the waters get
I need
deep,
somebody to talk to while I'm on the
or
ship by
swim.
myself.
So, before I put you to work, let's get everything out in the open.
We'll see, Gumdrop.
I don't know if Adler mentioned it, and for his sake, I hope he hasn't. But you aren't about to sign up with any average pirate crew. You're signing up with the Crimson Fleet. That's if you get through this little task I have planned for you. There's a medical supply ship called the Ragana, jumping into Enceladus's orbit. On board that ship, you'll find a traitor named Austin Rake. I want him dead. There's a lesson in this. I need you to learn what'll happen if you decide to turn your back on the fleet. Consider it your glimpse into a possible, unfortunate future. So you'd better pay close attention. It's done when Rake stops breathing. Head back here when you're finished. And don't keep me waiting for long.
Okay, so now we're starting to get into situations where our morality might be catching up with us here. So we'll have to see what options we have.
With his crewmen.
So here are your two different options for how to play this out, as well as just attack.
Well, normally I would say no, but frankly it will be safer for us that way. Alright, you can dock. We will talk then.
And you can see that your companions are going to react to your choices here in different ways. If you have them assigned to your ship, then they're going to have reactions if you're in a ship-based mode. If, for instance, they're not your active companion, then when you go in and do something on foot inside the ship, then they're not going to have a reaction to it. So it's best if you leave your companions away from you, or not as active companions, if you're going to be doing some questionable things.
I am not sure what to make of you being here. If you wanted to kill us, you could have done that from your ship. If you wanted our cargo, we could have jettisoned it. I guess I should just stop talking and let you say your piece. That is true. Which means you don't want somebody to know what you are really up to. Now, do you mind telling us what this is all about?
So you have an option here to convince the captain to kill him. You could kill him yourself, or find another way here.
You really do not know which one of us is Rake, do you? And you do not seem to care either, which makes me think you really want to save him. Okay, I have idea. We can strike his name from Manifest, make it so he was never on board. Then, when we dock, we will leave him on this ship and deliver him to another port. That is fair. We do not want any part of the fleet. Is that all right with you, Austin?
Do I have a choice?
It does not appear you do. Well then, it is agreed. You go back to your ship and we will make sure Rake was never on ours. And in case any of your handlers get suspicious, here. We had an extra crate of supplies loaded, in case one got damaged. This should be proof you were not here to bargain.
This unpleasantness aside, the people of New Homestead will be
So
grateful
now what?
for these supplies.
They're gonna put me in a cis-death prison? I'm not saying it's worse than death, but it's pretty damn close.
So he's not going to be happy about it, but it's better than dying.
Amber's just don't know how to take a hit. Hey, Rook, wanna help me with some target practice?
we're gonna try and get a target lock here. We're gonna go to the engines. And now the engines are disabled, so we can exit targeting. And now you're able to dock with the ship. We'll just illustrate what the whole docking procedure is like here.
Green lights on outer hatch. We're docked.
You don't have to do this. You can certainly just destroy the ships. Okay, now when you dock the ships in orbit here, you're in a 0G environment. So you can see things are floating around and your movement is entirely different. Okay, you can see that there's a bad guy in here. Explosive rounds make quick work for them. And then don't forget that there's also a cargo hold. And there's a captain's locker. Right? Now you can board, I don't know in this case if you can, yes you can. So you can board this ship and make it your own. And we'll just do this real quick and illustrate it. So we've commandeered a new ship. If you land on a planet or jump to a different system, this ship will become your home ship. Any passengers or anything like that from your previous home ship will be transferred to your new ship. And it doesn't matter how much cargo space or crew space this new ship has. You won't lose anything in doing this. Okay? So if we hit E here, you can see that this ship could be our home ship. However, we're still connected to the Star Eagle here. So if we undock and take off and jump, this becomes our home ship. Otherwise, we've commandeered the ship. We can board back to the Star Eagle. And now this ship has become ours. And you'll see it when we dock at another planet. It will be in our ship list. Okay. So for now, let's just get back in our pilot seat and we'll hail the Astraea.
Releasing ship from dock. Done. We are now free to move among the
Thanks for the help
skies.
with the Ecliptic. I had it under control, but it definitely went faster after you jumped into the fight. Now tell me about the Ragana. Give me some good news, then we can go celebrate. Huh. No kidding. That'll make Delgado happy, seeing as our hands are clean. I would have preferred if you hadn't left witnesses behind, but at least you got the job done. Anyway, you wanted into the Crimson Fleet? Well, you're in. Yep, it's that simple. Hope this business with Rakes taught you something. Because I'm about to stick my neck out and vouch for you. If you screw up, and I wind up looking like an asshole, I'm gonna send someone after you. We clear? Yeah? Last person who said that was Rake. So you've already dug yourself a hole about 6 feet deep. Now that you know the deal, it's time to see what you signed up for. I'm gonna upload the coordinates for our headquarters in the Kryx system. Spacers call it the key, the fleet calls it home. Head out there as soon as you can. Don't keep me waiting long.
Okay, so now we can head to the key. But you see that the UC Vigilance wants to talk to us here. So if we look at our quest tab, it's given us to report to the Vigilance. We're going to have to give them periodic updates as we go.
Solid docking job there. Nice work.
Commander Ikonde wants to see you. Follow me. I had a friend on the Lagana. I hope I'll be able to see him next time we're on shore leave.
Hey, Star, good morning. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
Do you have anything to report? We got the message from the Regana about Austin Rick. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for. That's a smart line to follow. Part of this role you're playing means having to make hard choices. Just remember not to lose yourself in the part. Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Naeva's ship. There was concern after what happened with the Regana that you might have trouble earning Naeva's trust. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem. But a gamble that hopefully paid off. On that note, how did things go with Naeva? Were you able to join the fleet? Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission.
Our intel on Saoirse was correct. After we received reports on your interaction with Adler Kemp, we picked up on your rendezvous with Naeva Mora.
Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on a good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet. Yes, you passed your first test and you're still alive. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down.
And their ruthlessness is only surpassed by their cunning. You should proceed with caution, regardless of how well you think you've ingratiated yourself.
So what's next for you on Naeva's agenda? Where you'll meet Delgado, no doubt.
Delgado is the leader of the Crimson Fleet. I have a profile here with some information on his background. You'll want to know the individual cadences of every member of the fleet, but Delgado's most of all.
In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the key. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future.
Sir, on that note, shall we begin implementing the upgrade to our shields?
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It certainly increased my estimates on success. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed.
Okay, so now we can travel to the key. And the key is actually a very important location for several different reasons.
Now, you're not pestering the captain, right, Cora?
Pester? You think I'm a pest?
Oh, never. Poor choice of words. You being nice to the crew, too?
Air pressure,
course.
seals.
So this book collection fund I heard about?
You got your cut. Now get out of my face. You said the tick was 10.
Okay, now that we're here, we'll watch this interaction first.
40% of 10 versus 30. You wanted 4K, you got 4K. Not my problem. If you're stealing from me, you bet your ass it's your problem.
You kidding me? Way to make a mess in front of my new rook.
Hey, steal from me and get caught. Better off dead.
Sounds like you did the fleet a favor. Now toss this body out of an airlock before it turns into a damn air freshener.
So that's how the pirate world rolls.
The hell took you so long? Forget how to grav jump or something? Fair enough. Glad to see you showing some backbone. Just be careful that you can back up that attitude before you square off with someone who can kick your ass. But, all that aside, you made it. So now, you get to hear a nifty history lesson. Pencils ready? Good. This floating scrap heap you're standing on is called the Key. Used to be an old UC military star station, and now it's the fleet's base of operations. Might look a little beat up on the outside, but we keep it together. Hell yeah, it is. Just watch your back when you do. Cred sticks tend to disappear around here, if you catch my meaning. Anyway, I'll tell you all about the Key, but it's better if I show you too. Follow me. All right, history time. So, the Key is in orbit around Suvorov. That's the very same ice ball where the United Colonies built a supermax prison they call the Lock. The UC is so clever. Supermax prison, Lock, Key. Cute, huh?
Remember this? We're not going to deal with it yet, but this is a fun piece of history here that opens up something else.
Now, we've got everything the fleet needs right here. Of course, you've got to pay for it. Remember, on the Key, credits are king. What the hell is this?
All right, hang on, Nav. Before you get pissed, I've got my hands full.
Jasmine, sweetie, I'm trying to give a tour here. So you want to tell me why those damn doors are sealed?
It's called a malfunction. You know, that thing I spend most of my day dealing with. Believe me, my people are on it. Have a little faith for once.
Aw. And you, always, Angel. This here's Jasmine. You need anything for your ship, she's got you covered. We'll hit up the depot next since these doors have given out on us. So anyway, we were talking about the Lock. About 100 years ago, the prisoners down there rioted and took over the place. After stealing some ships, they were actually able to make it up here and took over the Key.
About time you brought us new blood, Naeva. I was getting tired of trading with the same old faces.
You're just ticked everyone's getting wise to your ridiculous prices, Aludra. Anyway, welcome to the depot, Rook, where you'll be lucky if these blood-sucking leeches don't bleed you completely dry.
Whoa. It's not our fault that people don't appreciate how much it costs to get untraceable merchandise onto the Key.
Naeva's just whining because she thinks she lost a ton of cash selling us a shipment of gear. She should have done her homework.
Yeah, sure, laugh it up. I'll remember that next time I need something from you cheapskates. Let's move on. Back to my story. After the liberated prisoners grabbed the key, they established it as a base of operations and began pirating the spaceways. That was how the Crimson Fleet began. Of course, Jasper Kryx had a lot to do with all that, but we'll get to him later. Rook, meet Zuri, queen of the rare exports.
If I don't have it, you don't need it.
Neuroamps, blueprints. Hit her up and she'll take care of you.
Speaking of which, you still owe me for that last purchase, Naeva. It's like 5 figures. Don't make me collect it the hard way.
The hard way? Oh no. Rook, protect me from Zuri's vengeance. Enough of the bullshit, Zuri. I'll pay you when I pay you. Deal with it. Got a problem with that? Take it up with the boss.
I hope
On the
you pay
right,
with credits.
you've got Bradley from the Trade Authority. I'm sure you know the deal there. He'll buy pretty much anything, no matter how hot. Then we got our med bay on the left, run by the one and only Samina Mizra. She'll patch you up, if you've got the money. We don't run any free clinics up in here, you don't? Okay, this is our final stop. Over there, you've got the Last Nova, where Bog serves watered-down drinks at ridiculously exorbitant prices. And right here is the most important place on the entire station. The Reckoner's Core, run by the incomparable Shinya Voss.
Another new Rook, Naeva? I can't believe Delgado still lets you recruit, given what happened with the last one.
You mean Austin Rape? It's been taken care of, all right? I don't like loose ends, and this Rook is the one who tied it off.
Perhaps next time you'll try to be a bit more discerning regarding your choices. It's far more cost-effective.
Yeah, love you too, darling. Anyway, Shinya handles our lifeblood. The money. We call him our Reckoner, but if you ask me, he's actually a pain in the ass.
And Naeva will slit your throat if she thinks you'll bleed creds.
Go to hell, boss. Take care of our new friend here, or I'll find a way to pull the pin on that little party popper in your chest. Anyway, Shinya will get you set up in our system. I've got real work to do. Once you're done, head upstairs and I'll introduce you to the boss.
Time for a proper introduction. I am Shinya Voss, the official reckoner for the Crimson Fleet. And since Naeva so thoughtfully mentioned it, yes, this is a bomb embedded in my chest. And no, I'll never know the meaning of the word humble. In fact, I find Delgado's idea of a security measure to be quite empowering. Glad you approve. Obviously, betrayal isn't taken lightly around here. Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have. For Delgado, the bomb grants peace of mind and a certain degree of safety. It's why he's the boss. Of course, I'm not the first reckoner to bear a bomb under my ribcage, but Delgado was smart enough to continue the tradition. Now, let me get you set up. A moment while I convene with the core. Thanks to advanced modifications even Eugen would envy, I can interface directly with our mainframe and the Galbank network. This allows me to move and clean credits faster and more efficiently than any run-of-the-mill cyber runner. There, you're done. All you need now is Delgado's blessing, and you'll be one of us. The perfect segue into my final subject. Thanks to our relations with contacts across the galaxy, we always have a steady stream of jobs available. I've granted you all the necessary permissions to access these listings at any time, using the computers that surround the core. If Naeva's chosen wisely, we certainly will. Now, I believe that covers all I have to say, so you can run along to Delgado. Take the elevator to the upper level. You should be able to find your way from there, I hope.
Okay, so Shinya Boss is
Proper shielding for any smuggling
your
jobs.
mission board, basically, for the Crimson Fleet. You can do theft and recovery missions. You can also do piracy missions here with him. So
seeing you.
He's a way to pick up and deal with additional missions here for the faction, and you can choose to continue those, or you can not do any of them. Or if you side with the Crimson Fleet, he's obviously going to be a big part of what you're doing on your day-to-day business for the Crimson Fleet.
Those crabs ain't gonna steal themselves.
There's our other new recruit. So, now that we are all here, it's time to get down to business. The two of you are the only rooks that have made the latest cut. The rest, well, let's just say they won't be joining us ever again. Naeva's willing to put her neck on the line and vouch for you, which means you've got what it takes to join the Crimson Fleet. You'd better not disappoint, or you'll find yourself answering to me, personally. All right, let's get started here. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for the long haul. No one quits. No one retires. The only way out is death. You stay loyal or you pay the consequences. Fleet before friends. Fleet before family. Fleet before yourself. Boss. Good. You're getting it already. I like that.
Can we get on with this? I want to get drunk at the last Nova.
I'm impressed. That is the first intelligent thing you have said this entire time, Mathis. Since you two seem so eager to move forward, let's get to your next job. Pack your cold weather gear, Rooks. Where we are going, you're going to need it.
Oh, God, don't tell me you're dragging him down to Suvarol for another one of your little initiation runs. 10 Johns to the surface, 12 dead rooks. You'd think by now you would have given up on that goddamn campfire story.
Kryx's legacy is no story, Naeva. We've got fresh eyes in the fleet. And if these two want to impress, they're going to help me search those ruins.
I hope you're right, Dale. That new code we grabbed for the lot cost us a ton of credits. And a decent captain.
This initiation, as Naeva calls it, is your chance to see where it all began. On Suvorov with Jasper Kryx. Kryx led the riots that gave birth to the Crimson Fleet. And if his legacy is still out there, we're going to be the ones to find it. Before Kryx left the fleet, he left a message talking about a major score. One that would set up the fleet to be a big player in the settled systems. Somewhere down the line, they started calling it Kryx's legacy. And everyone who's tried to find it has wound up empty-handed, missing, or dead. If we're gonna beat those odds, we'll first need a lead. And I would wager we will find one on Suvorov.
Dale's leaving out the best part. That this whole search is based on a handful of words on a very old slate. Kryx left a lot of big talk on that recording, and not a lot of facts. Some of us believe in it more than others.
Don't listen to her. When we get our hands on Kryx's legacy, the fleet will be operating at a completely different level. We will become more than a match for UC System. Exactly. Now you're beginning to understand. Okay, enough discussion. we have got a lot of work to do. To that end, the next stop is the lock. I've had Jazz feed the coordinates into your ship's computer.
Since Mathis doesn't have a ship, he's going to ride with me.
I'll see you down there, Rook. Don't keep me waiting.
Okay, so this is going to take us down to the surface, and we do need to proceed down there. However, that mission is quite long, and we're going to save that for next week. Fortunately, there's some good things that we can deal with here. And the first is picking up the evidence slates that are present here on the key. And the first one from here is going up to Delgado's room. And not here, over here. And here's Voss's parts. Okay, so this is another piece of evidence to pick up. Now we're going to make our way back down to where we came from. And you're going to be looking for the way into the bunks.
Man, I get so tired of pirates.
So once you're in here,
I killed this, I stole that. Shut the hell up and get back to work.
and I'm gonna have to get my bearings. It's been a while since I've done this. And we're gonna come back for all of those. So there's a room that's got, there it is, right here. You can tell it's the room that's got the barbell in it. You can pick up Mira's demise.
So wait, say that again. You think I'm who?
Stop playing games. We both know your real name is Lionel Soto, and you know why I'm here.
Who are you? Fleet? Ecliptic? An independent?
I've spent 2 long years and every credit I had looking for you, just so I could look you in the eye before I pulled the trigger.
Hey, what's with the gun? There must be some mistake. I honestly don't know who you are.
Of course you don't know who I am. You're never concerned with the death you leave in your wake, in your pursuit of greed. You killed my husband, you son of a bitch! And now I'm going to kill you!
Such a terrible shame. All that time and money she wasted. Ah, well. Better get rid of the body.
Hey, things didn't turn out too well for her. Now we're going to head back out here and make our way over to
You can get work from
the
boys
clinic.
of the Reckoner's Corps. Voss will make sure you get paid.
Okay. There she is,
You're still
hiding from me.
standing. Can't be that bad. First time visiting the infirmary, huh? Let me give you a piece of advice. Try not to get into too many bar fights. I'm trying to save my dwindling supplies for sale and pirates coming in off of raids. That's what they all say, until they stumble in bleeding out on my floor. So here's what's what. You need medpacks, curatives, preventatives, I've got you covered. At least as long as my current supply holds out. You need enhancers, legal or illegal? I've got those too. Hopefully that won't be often. Now, if you don't need anything else, I've got a particularly annoying supply issue to deal with.
Okay, so she mentions that she has a supply issue here.
Now there's an offer I didn't expect. If you really want to help, I'm looking for someone who can handle themselves in a public setting. As in someone who knows how to get the job done without shooting up the place. Well, you'd be one of the first. I politely requested a list of supplies from Gennady Aton at the clinic and was told the price of business has gone up. I think he's back on Aurora, and he's upcharging me to pay for it. And if there's one thing I'm not going to do is subsidize his habit. I want you to make sure he delivers my supplies for the price we agreed on, but without raising any alarms. We'll see. Talk is one thing, actions are another.
Okay, now you can also buy medical supplies here from her, and you can sell medical supplies back to her as well. But we wanted to get that mission, doctor's orders, because while you're in it on the clinic is where you're going to find another piece of evidence. Then we're going to head to the last Nova. And we're going to go down here and talk to the bartender, Bog.
Oh, I was wondering when you'd wander my way. The name's Fergus Wickham, but you can call me Bog. Welcome to the last Nova, where the drinks are never free. Well, then you've come to the right place, mate. Since it's your first time with us, I'm willing to make an exception to the rule and offer you my speciality on the house. 1 free bottle of Bog's Grog. That's the spirit. I knew you'd be the adventurous type. And if you like it, you're in luck. Cheapest drink you can find, and guaranteed to drown those sorrows. Now that's a trade secret, mate, and a homegrown one at that. But nothing to worry about. I've been serving it up going on 20 years now. Only things that kill my customers are bullets and stupidity. Nova wasn't always the lovely sight you see before you. She used to be a hydrophile and put up quite a fight when we decided to give her a makeover. Overgrown water everywhere. I almost gave up. But what's a proper home without a pub, eh? Bog's Grog and anything else your heart desires.
So here you can pick up aid items, mainly food items and that sort of stuff that can help you out. And you got a free bottle of Bog's Grog, which basically improves your carrying capacity, but it decreases your O2 recovery as well. So
next time
the more you talk to Bog, more options are going to open up. And that's why you want to come here and talk to him first. And then when you come back, and actually I've never tested it
Maybe. We haven't
to
decided.
see if you can just leave and then come right back. It's actually a good question. Let's test it real quick. Normally I leave and go on a mission, and then when I come back I can talk to him again. But we'll see if this works here. His conversation options will expand, and you will get a conversation option that will open up a new side quest.
I always thought he witches were just pests. Never considered trying to raise one as a pet. Having your own
something I can
Okay,
get for you.
so yeah, you have to go and do something else and then come back and talk to
See
him.
you next time.
That will open up a side quest where he will want you to acquire a ring from somebody, and as part of that quest, in the location you go, there's another piece of evidence that you can collect. Okay, now the last place to go.
We may not have official security.
Well, two things that we'll do. First, here's Jasmine Duran. She's your ship specialist.
Here to upgrade that ship of yours? So, looks like we got ourselves a new rook. Once again, I'm Jazz, resident engineer here. Like Naeva said, you need ship parts, repairs? I'll hook you up. As long as your credits are good. It may not be wider, but it's not on the books if that's what you're getting at. I can guarantee your ship will be in good hands. So if you're looking for an upgrade, let me know. We got the best selection in the settled systems. Illegal, unregistered, recalled. We sell it all. No questions asked. Anything that keeps the UC and Freestar Rangers off your tail is a must-have in my book. Just let me know when you want to talk business. Sure. It's not like I'm busy keeping this rust bucket of a station from falling apart.
So we are going to repair my ship.
I've seen worse. We'll get right on it.
And then we're going to view and modify our ships.
Oh, yeah. Nothing like changing it up to make a ship feel new again.
So, the first thing is for the Star Eagle. If you go to the shipbuilder, and you have these locations where you can tag on stuff. Here, if you hit the G key to attach, and you go through the various different types of items here, so maybe it won't fit on this section. Let me look and just make sure I'm not missing it. Not. Let me try a different one. Fuel tanks, engines, dockers, cockpits, structural. Oh, so there are more options here that I can't. Oh, yeah, there are more options here I can't see yet. There are a couple of different things that you're going to be able to get from the key here that you can't get in many other locations. Like she said, there are some non-standard additions, and one of those is a shielded cargo bay that you can buy here, but you can also buy a jammer for your cargo, which increases the chance that you're going to be able to avoid those scans if you have contraband in your hold. So both of them are very, very useful things to have, and you can buy them here once you've opened up a couple of other things. Now the first that we want to look at, or first thing that we want to do in here, honestly, I can't remember exactly where this is. Right there. So there's another piece of evidence, request A17.
Hey, Champ. I'm including this month's list of parts I need for the key. Don't bust a gut. It's hefty, but I know you can handle it. I'm gonna need a lot more than usual this time. I'm planning to overhaul the entire electrical system before it completely shorts out. Oh yeah, thanks for sending over the key's reactor specs. I can't tell you exactly why I needed those. Del said to keep it hush-hush. As far as next month's shipment, start scrounging up some parts so I can spruce up our defensive batteries. They're looking kind of rusty. Well, I guess that's it for now. I'll have my people in New Atlantis drop off the payment at the spaceport. Just make sure you aren't being followed. We wouldn't want the UC to know they're providing replacement parts to the Crimson Fleet.
Okay, so that in combination with Bog's quest are the only pieces of evidence that are here on the key. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier when we came in. We'll go back out here to the docking bay, because this is a good place to start. Is this interview with Jasper Kryx. This is part one. This is best done in order, so that you can listen to them as they go, because they build on each other. Now, there's no reward for collecting these that I'm aware of, anyway, but they are kind of a fascinating history behind the Crimson Fleet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Dunnigan of SSNN, and this is Galactalk. My guest tonight is one of the most notorious criminals in the settled systems. His ruthlessness and desire for wealth has landed him squarely at the top of the wanted list for every major law enforcement agency in the galaxy. I am, of course, speaking of the self-appointed leader of the Crimson Fleet himself, Jasper Kryx. Good evening, Mr. Kryx.
Good evening, Gail. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Yes, well, being blindfolded and then grav-jumped to what appears to be an abandoned mining facility isn't exactly what I'd call an invitation.
Well, I'm sure you're not surprised that your request for an interview would come with some very specific conditions.
Frankly, I was a bit surprised to receive any type of response at all. Would you mind telling me why you decided to do this interview?
Because there comes a time in every pirate's life where they have to make an extremely important decision. Do they take a leap and become one of the most legendary pirates in history? Or do they simply sputter on, subsisting on freighters and deep space privateers?
So are we to assume that you're taking the leap? That Jasper Kryx is moving on to bigger and better things in his life?
That's spot on, Gail. That's exactly why you're here.
Interesting. Well then, would you mind sharing with us exactly what your particular leap entails?
In due time. There's no rush. In fact, I'd say we have at least 12 hours before the authorities trace this broadcast. Plenty of time to discuss whatever you like.
Oh, all right then. Perhaps the best place to start this interview would be at the beginning of your career.
Please, proceed.
Okay, so you can see this is Jasper Kryx was the origin pirate of the Crimson Fleet, the former creator of the Crimson Fleet. He's no longer around, but it's, like I say, it's fascinating to learn about the history here. And we're going to spend the last several minutes of the stream here going through this interview. And the second piece here is in the gym.
Where did your stellar rise to infamy begin?
In the streets of New Atlantis. No parents, no godparents. Just a homeless punk kid robbing whoever he could for the credits.
Were these violent crimes? Murders?
I'm a bit offended you even asked that question, Gail. Sure, a few people here and there walked away with injuries, but I'm not some kind of butcher.
That doesn't sound as heartless as your reputation would imply.
Well, like I said, I was just a kid.
Were you ever caught by the authorities in New Atlantis?
Oh, dozens of times. But I'd just give them a fake name, or they just slap me on the wrist and send me on my way. They obviously didn't think that I'd amount to anything, and didn't want to waste their time with rehabilitation.
What changed that? Was it the robbery in 2218?
2218? Oh, yeah. The Galbank archives. Very good, Gail. I see you've done your research. That would be when I rounded up a few of my buddies and we knocked the place over. Made off with a ton of credits. My first big score.
Is decided to bring you into their ranks?
That's right. They brought me in, taught me the ropes, and I did crimes for them for 5 years. Till I decided I wanted more. I got rid of their leader, put myself in his place, and started running the show. I've been the one in charge ever since.
Was it absolutely necessary to cut his throat and leave the body on a public street in the well?
On the street, reputation is everything. I wanted everyone in the city to know that Jasper Kryx was taking over. I think they got the message.
Okay, so Jasper Kryx obviously was not a nice guy. That's probably the understatement of the year award. So now we want to head into the depot. When we come in here, we're going to go right and we're going to head over here to this computer. And here's number 3.
So tell us about Jasper Kryx's version of the Crimson Scar.
All I can tell you is that under my guidance, the Crimson Scar became more influential than every other syndicate combined. Here I was, 22 years old, and I had power, people that followed my orders, and an endless stream of credits. Gale, I have to tell you, I was having the time of my life.
So you'd consider extortion, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, assault, and murder to be positive life influences?
No. I'd consider them as just means to an end. Those so-called crimes were merely stepping stones until I had enough wealth to buy the Crimson Scar a few spacecraft.
Yes, let's talk about that. It appears you weren't satisfied with terrorizing New Atlantis alone.
Oh, I've never stopped reaching, Gale. The amount of money we were making in New Atlantis was decent, but the really big scores were in space, on the cargo ships. We're talking millions of credits, maybe more. Who the hell could count it all?
Most people assume this is when the UC decided to actively set up a task force to pursue the Crimson Scar.
That's correct. Those idiots in charge of the United Colonies were clearly embarrassed that they had allowed the Crimson Scar to make the jump into space. They sent ships after us. Lots of ships. I almost think that they enjoy starting wars.
Perhaps this was the first time you had finally reached too far.
You could say that. I count my time running the Crimson Scar as a learning experience. I wouldn't say I reached too far. I'd say I reached too fast. Didn't cover all my bases. Made some stupid mistakes. One thing's for certain, though. When I was finally arrested and thrown into the lock, I had plenty to think about.
Okay, so you learned about Kryx's history with a gang, so to speak, called the Crimson Scar, and then he was arrested and thrown into the lock. And we've already learned that the lock is the prison that is down on the planet that we're about to go visit. Right, so things are starting to tie together here. And the next place that we want to go is to the command center. And for that, we want to head back up the stairs here. And for this,
fleet protects our own. You turn against us, we're dead.
trying to remember where it is in here.
A bunch of mindless marauders. We here in Ops beg to differ.
It's been a while since I've done this, so trying to remember it off the top of my head and not pull a guide up. But I might have to pull a guide up here if I can't remember it.
You might think it's funny. Loyalty's big in the fleet.
Long live the fleet.
So I think it was sitting on top of a filing cabinet or something like that in here. It's not there.
Oh man, nothing tops that Freestar cargo ship we jumped a year back.
Maybe it's over here.
Every time I see Radley smile, I want to punch him in the face.
I don't think it's around here. Ah, here it is. Yes. Sorry, it took me a little bit to remember where it was. Forgot it was in this room.
Tell us about your arrest.
Oh, my arrest was spectacular. Definitely one for the record books. UC Security sent an armada after our little fleet of ships and picked us off one by one until the remainder of us made it to the wheel.
For our listeners' benefit, that was the star station in orbit around Voli that you destroyed just before your arrest, correct?
You see, that's what they'd have you believe, but the truth is much less sinister. There was a firefight on the wheel when they tried to bring us in. We holed up, but UC Security unleashed hell. The damage they caused was catastrophic. We only surrendered so we wouldn't die when the station exploded.
Well, the UC says you set demolition charges to try and cover your tracks and make your escape.
That's their story. You'll have to go with your gut on what you think really happened. Anyway, they took us in and tossed us into the lock. That lovely resort they opened on Suvorov.
And you were imprisoned there for how long?
Well, it was supposed to be for life, Gale. But I ended up serving 2 years before I decided I'd had enough.
Is there any particular reason that you started the riots that eventually led to the worst prison break in United Colonies history?
Yes. I'm quite proud of that, actually. I honestly didn't think it would go as well as it did. As for the reason, well, it's simple. The UC were treating us like animals. The conditions in the lock were ridiculously bad and no one cared. That's why they stuck us on that ice ball in the first place. Out of sight, out of mind.
Your escape caused the deaths of many that were stationed at the lock. Some would brand that as a bit dismissive for what you're describing as a protest. If you were simply advocating for your fellow inmates, why didn't you just go through the proper channels?
And what the hell was I supposed to do? Send a strongly worded letter to my duly appointed representative? Wake up. The UC only responds to actions, not words. In my mind, there was no other choice. You know what? Let's move past my time at the lock so we can get to the point of this goddamned interview.
Alright, so now we can head back, and this one I know is in the bar. We've actually seen it already. And I keep walking right past the elevators. I do it every time. The key can be a little confusing when you're first trying to make your way around it.
I've got
Bar is over here. And I still make wrong turns whenever I'm walking through the key.
Bugs are soft.
So again, we're going to head down here and on the bar. I've already seen it. I just have to remember where it is. There it is.
But it's mods from Jaws?
Certainly. Let's talk about something else. How did the Crimson Scar become the Crimson Fleet?
After I busted out of the lock, I decided to take things to the next level. I had the key, a few UC ships, and a couple dozen ex-cons at my side. But I needed more, so I sent out the call. Once word got around, it didn't take long for freelance pirates from every corner of the settled systems to show up.
And this is how the Crimson Fleet was born.
Exactly. The key became our base of operations. We spent months reinforcing our position there, making it nearly impossible to approach.
What was the UC's response to the situation?
First of all, UC Security gave up and handed the reins over to the big guns, the UC Navy. The Navy in turn sent ships to attack the key. I'd say there have been 3 major attacks over the last few years. And as you can tell by the fact we're having this interview, all the attacks were embarrassing failures.
Do you feel these embarrassing failures led them to form UC systems?
Absolutely. They've clearly given up and decided to shove the responsibility onto a separate division. That way, in the public eye, the UC Navy can move forward, proud and strong, while UC SysDef continually takes all the blame. It's all about PR spin for them, Gale. That's how the UC operates. Kinda disgusting, don't you think?
Sounds a bit like you're trying to deflect attention off the atrocities the Crimson Fleet commits on a daily basis.
Atrocities, huh? How about fighting the Freestar Collective over a bunch of rocks hanging in space? How about thousands of people dying while a bunch of pencil-pushing bastards sit in a cushy office and draw lines on a star map? Maybe the United Colonies should stop the bullshit and take a hard look in the mirror to see who the monsters really are.
So he was obviously upset about the whole colony war and all of that. And going his own way was his way of kind of getting around that. So now we're going to head to another place that we've already been. And that is, we're going to head back to the command center. We're going to head back up the stairs. And this time into this room here, and number 6 is here on the table.
Tell us what the future holds for the Crimson Fleet.
Changes are coming, Gale. Huge changes. Crimson Fleet will soon be a much bigger player in this little game between the members of the settled systems.
That's quite a bold statement. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, let's just say that I'm on the brink of a score so large, it makes everything else pale in comparison. Beyond that, you'll just have to wait and see.
If you aren't willing to discuss the details, why grant SSNN this interview?
Simple. I refuse to allow the UC to spin or bury the story, making it sound like they're in complete control of the situation. I'm gonna tell you right now, they aren't.
Why does the Crimson Fleet need to make this mysterious move that you're being so evasive about?
I know SysDef instructed you to draw this meeting out as long as possible. So let me sum this up. I intend to make sure that the Crimson Fleet becomes the United Colony's worst nightmare. And nothing, I mean nothing in this universe, will stop me from achieving that goal.
There are those that would disagree with you and claim this interview is grandstanding, or worse, a recruitment tool. After all, SSNN reaches every corner of the settled systems, and your aspirations could inspire the directionless to turn to the fleet.
You and the sheep that listen to your garbage can believe whatever the hell you want. If you were so worried about what I had to say, you wouldn't have allowed yourself to be brought here.
Alright, so there we start learning about this big score that Kryx wanted to start, or that he was about to embark on. That big score is what we're trying to track down now, Kryx's legacy that Delgado talked about. So from here, the last one, we've already seen this one as well by accident. Need to head all the way back here.
Been hearing some stuff about the mantis being
and turn left, and here it is, the last part.
Let me just ask you one final question before we wrap up.
Fine. Go ahead.
When is enough going to be enough? How many credits does Jasper Kryx need until he's satisfied?
I should have expected you to ask such a stupid question. How the hell could you ever understand? You with your fancy education and your sheltered upbringing and your cushy media job? Me, I came from nothing. Everything I own, I've literally drawn blood to gain.
There's no need to get personal. I'm simply trying to state the facts so that our listeners can make judgments of their own.
Lady, I got news for you. Half of your listeners think I'm a hero. The other half are scared out of their goddamn minds, and they should be.
Perhaps we should talk about something else.
No, that's it. We're done. Can you guys get her the hell out of here? Make sure she takes all this sound equipment with her.
Well, that's it then. Thank you for your...
Actually, before you go, Gail, there's one more thing I would like to say.
Yes, of course. What is it?
When you broadcast this interview on SSNN, I want you to remember that I'll be listening. If you edit even one word or manipulate my voice to change anything I've said, I will hunt you down and kill you. In front of everyone. Do you understand?
I understand. You have my word.
Alright, so we learned some fascinating things there about Jasper Kryx. The last thing that you want to do here, to head to the Vigilance. Now, like I said, there's no reward here for finding all those, and I think they probably missed the boat here a little bit at Bethesda, or maybe they intended there to be some sort of reward and never got around to it. But you can do something with these slates that you've picked up. And that is that there's somebody here on the ship, and I'm gonna have to remember if he's on the bridge or if he's somewhere else.
The Vigilance is our flagship. Where it goes...
Word is the fleet has you chasing ghosts on Suvorov. One thing spookier than a pirate.
I think he's actually
Commander Ikande is
somewhere
the heart and soul
else.
of UC system. I'd follow him to the ends of the galaxy.
I don't think any of these guys are them.
Looking forward to reading your
You're
report.
looking for
Okay, hello.
a particular named NPC named Armin.
Heard you boarded the Key. I can't imagine what state the pirates have left it in.
Hey.
And now I've just got to find him. I think I remember where he is. I think he's down at the brig. I think that's right. So we'll end our episode today going to talk to him.
Officer Petrosian, like...
Yes, this is him.
We'll keep the brig
So
ready
here's
for
Armin
any
Petrosian.
pilots you bring in. Welcome to the brig. As a member of SysDef, you may talk with the prisoners as long as you are mindful of operation security. As a personal rule, I simply ask that you adhere to UC Navy standards of cleanliness at all times. That means no mud on your boots, your hands are washed, and you are free of any contagious diseases. Excellent. And all that being said, I understand your mission directive might call for flexibility on my part. So if you need to be a rum-drinking, swashbuckling pirate to do your job, then I will do my best to clean up after you.
Okay, so here's where you can talk about the slates here to Armin.
So it's true. All my life I've been led to believe the guards on the lock were heroes. But there was part of me that always doubted the story. Even as a child learning about the history from the slates. Thank you for bringing me this. I get that Kryx is about as unreliable a witness as they come, but I believe him. No, the prisoner surrendered willingly, as per the terms of your deal. This is probably the safest place for him, if the fleet want him dead. You can chat with him, if you haven't already. I'm sure he has a lot to say.
Okay, and now
Until next time. Some of the guards don't take kindly to the prisoners, but we should try to maintain some decorum.
Okay, so
keep the floors and your nose clean, and you can stay
I
as long as
think that's, I can't remember if there are any other, if you talk to him again, if you can learn any more or tell him any more about the information on the slates, but that's the only interaction that you have up to this point with the slates. It is a really nice set of history that explains what's happened with the Crimson Fleet up to this point. But again, that's all you get out of it. I think there probably should be a reward there for collecting all of these, maybe from him or something like that, but there isn't right now in the game. And you can see while we're here, the prisoners that we bring in, you can talk to them here. If the cell has the light turned out, then that means there's somebody in it, and you can go talk to them. So sometimes you just have to wait for them to move into view so that you can see them through here. But yes, you can talk to the prisoners, and these will slowly fill up as you turn in more evidence. So the last thing that we're going to do today, and sorry we're running a little long, is we're going to go into the command center and we're going to turn in the pieces of evidence that we've collected. Down here, to the right. We'll go to Lieutenant Toft here and have a final conversation.
Anything new to report? Nice work. Let me take a look. Yeah, you're right. But there's no way this was a solo job. Shifting all those parts takes serious manpower. I'll send this to Mast so they can shake the tree a bit, see what falls out. Looks like Durand better start looking for parts somewhere else. Have any more? So Voss engineered a way to directly interface with the Key's mainframe? I knew he was a math genius, but didn't realize he was so tech-savvy. Well, we'll share this information with Galbank. Hopefully it'll help them shore up the security on their cryptocurrency. Any other fragments? So, Mr. Yasso is actually Lionel Soto. We thought Soto was dead. At least, that's what the records told us. I'll have the records updated, but seeing as Mr. Yasso has surrounded himself with the Crimson Fleet, there isn't much we can do. Yet. That it? All right. Keep up the good work. We'll be here if you need us.
Okay, so that gives us a good point to save here and get ready for next week. So we got ahead of us, we're going to head down to the surface and do some exploration there to try and follow up on Jasper Kryx's big score, so to speak, and find out what happened to it. So that's something to look forward to in our next episode on next Wednesday. As a reminder, the Baldur's Gate 3 live streams will be this Saturday, so feel free to tune in for those if you can. So, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. None of this would be possible without your support, and I'd like to thank you all for it. So, as always, this is me, Commander Joval, saying until next time, fare thee well.